What's up, YouTube? For today's video, we're going to be looking at a Houndstone moveset for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Houndstone has a crazy powerful move called Last Respects, and I'm going to be doing some competitive movesets based around it, and also I'm going to be doing some memes as well. Now, if there is a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, make sure you leave it below in the comment section of the video, and if you're enjoying the new series and you want to show some support in the channel, drop a like there as well. And without further ado, let's get into some of these movesets here. So the first moveset I've got here is a pretty basic one here, which works fairly well. Looking at Houndstone, we're going to bring up its stats right here. Now, firstly, obviously, Last Respects. I have to say this move because it's so overpowered here. So this is a 50 base power move. Now, every single time one of your Pokemon in your party is fainted, it increases it by 50. So it's already 50 already. So when one Pokemon faints, it's 100 base power. So it just gets exponentially stronger. So it definitely suits to be a late game sweeper for sure. If you are running a 3v3 battle, it's not so powerful, but you know, 6v6, it's very, very powerful. Now, looking at this moveset here, obviously, if you want to be like a speedy sweeper, you're definitely going to want Sand Rush. Now, I put Sandstorm in the set just for, you know, obviously, if I don't have a sand team, but you'd probably be running this on a sand team, so you can always change a Sandstorm out and put it with something like Tyranitar. That's going to work, or Hippowdon. Anything along those lines, I'd be running, you know, Tyranitar and, you know, probably Hippowdon on both of those teams. Now, you could definitely change out Sandstorm for another move. It's got a lot of moves here. We've got already Last Respects. I put Ice Fang on there and Crunch for pretty good coverage. Now, you could do some cool stuff like, you know, you could give it like double edge and things like that, and you could also even maybe tear it into a normal type. If you want to get around like a ghost type move, you could try and play some mind games there, putting that onto a normal type move. Now, it will power down the base of Last Respects, but if you got a lot of fainters up, it doesn't really matter. It's just going to hit like a truck anyway. Now, as for abilities, I've said Sand Rush here. We'll be looking at a fluffy set on the next one there. I just want to go over Sand Rush first. So Sand Rush obviously doubles your speed during the sand, so you want the sand going for as long as possible. So, you know, definitely put it up with a Smooth Rock Pokemon to extend that Sandstorm for as long as possible there. And, you know, you want a sand team, so you want a good couple of sand setters on your team, so definitely Hippowdon and Tyranitar there definitely work well. For the EV spread here, I've got max attack and I've got max speed, Adam and Nature. I don't really feel you need to run Jolly on this because you want to be getting as much out of his attack as possible, and I feel like when you give it Jolly, you don't really need that much speed, so it's better to give it Adam and Nature if you're going for that, and I just dump the rest into, you know, health there. That's sort of the set. Now, this can run a lot of different items. I've just got Life Orb on here, but, man, you can put, like, Shivers. You could put, like, Choice Band on here. That would work as well. Another one, you could, it does have a good base defense. You could even put Weakness Policy on there. Like, it's the, like, that would take a physical attack. Not something super duper powerful, but it would be able to take a physical attack, and maybe you could get a Weakness Policy there if it was on like a weaker sort of coverage move. That could work as well if you wanted to run something a little bit more risky. It does have a lot of base power with the Last Respects anyway, but if you want a little bit of extra boost there, that could definitely work too. Now, I'm thinking you could even run something like, let's say you want to run Scarf. That could even be viable on there, you know? Like, that's another viable thing. Say if the sand was to run out, that would give you an extra 1.5 times speed on that, which, you know, would give it a respectable, you know, speed stat at the end of the day. Now, another item you could give it, once again, heavy duty boots would be great too. You know, that would be very handy if you, obviously, if you weren't able to get rid of the sticky webs or hazards on the side of the field. Another great item to have on your sweeping Pokemon there. Another good item too you could have would be Lumberry, because say if this gets burned, well, it's going to hit like a wet paper bag. So that's another like low-key good item on there that I'll be running. So any of those you could run on there, depending on what, of course, your teammates have and your team synergy and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it for like the Sand Rush set. I'm looking at some of the other moves to cover, like you could get, there's a lot of moves there. Basically, you're going to be using this move all the time, and say if like a normal type Pokemon comes in, there is a body press option, but I'm going to be working on body press in the next set. Look, you could run that on there if you like truly wanted to. Looking at space defense, it's still respectable, but you're not going to get like KOs after KOs with it. So I'd probably be giving it something else if you're running like a like an Adam and Nature set. I give it this a coverage move. Like, You know, I'm thinking something like dark types. Really, you have to really worry about dark types and ghost types, and you virtually have them covered. You could even, as I said, you could even tear like a double edge or something along those lines as well. Looking at, you even got options here for priority if you really need to go first. If you want like a shadow sneak on there, you have that option too if the sand isn't going. And you even have stuff like stomping tantrum, but you're probably not going to be missing too much. So I don't see that as something that's really like worth it unless you want to be hitting steel types, and it's not going to be hitting very hard. Now, you've got Psychic Fangs on there too. That'd be good if you want to get rid of screens. So if the opponent has set some screens up, you could get rid of the screens and then potentially start going with a sweep there. That's a very handy move to have as well. And you've got a couple of Elemental Fang moves here, but that's pretty much for the physical set. Now, let's have a look at the next one here. So I wanted to do like a little bit of a fun, competitive sort of set on Fluffy. So most of the time, people will pick Sand Rush set. I always like to have a look at all the options for every Pokemon and abilities too. So this is a Fluffy set that I made up. It's actually not too bad. I've tried it out already. So this is a really, really bulky defensive set. Now we've got on here Body Press. Body Press obviously is going to use the defense stat as the attack stat in the damage calculation. So look at that base defense of 100. That's really, really nice, right? And that's a powerful move as well. Now, it's not going to be one-shotting everything under the sun, you know, but you've got some other support moves here. You actually got Will-O-Wisp, which is quite handy too. And you've also got some fixed damage on there being Nightshade. So that's a little bit of fun you could use there. And you've got a potential bit of healing there with the Resto Chesto set too. So that could definitely work. With the Fluffy, the Pokemon is going to take half damage from contact moves. And it is going to take extra from fire type moves. So I'd probably suggest you could pair this up with like a flash fire Pokemon. That would be cool. Any sort of special attacker would be nice, a physical attacker. Anything with flash fire would work there to swap in if you're really truly worried about getting hit by a fire type move. Even another rock type Pokemon just to take the fire type move, or a water type Pokemon as well if you didn't want to have to exactly have flash fire. But yeah, that's how I go about this Fluffy set here. I mean, you could even change his EVs around if you wanted to, but I feel like this one, well, you could make like, for argument's sake, you could run like a really like more special defensive set too. Body Press would still do okay damage if you went like that. You wouldn't be as susceptible to getting wrecked by a special attack. So that's more up to what other Pokemon you bring on your team too. But if you really want a true defensive like support or wall, that would work really nicely at the same time there as well. Now, I want to have a quick little glance at doubles here. So I made up a little bit of a fun set for doubles because I know people do play doubles as well. So I played around with this set. It was actually worked pretty nicely. This is obviously like a sweeping set as well, and we've been running this with other sand type Pokemon like Tyranitar, Hippowdon, etc. Right? So you could build the Tyranitar up like this is not a Tyranitar moveset or something like that, but you could you just give it its generic moves, and gotta probably not Stealth Rock. The game's a little bit fast and doubles the Stealth Rock, but I'd run like some other moves like that would work really nicely. But mainly you want to be using Sandstream Pokemon, and then you could get this going with the Houndstone. Now, I've given it Ally Switch, which could be pretty cool. And I also made up this Dunsparce that could work with it too. It's a bit of fun. Try it out. So I've got Last Respects, I've got Crunch, and I've got Fire Fang. And I've also got Adrenaline Orb too. I thought that'd work quite nicely in doubles with like Intimidate everywhere. And that would give you a boost in speed. So it might give you extra little bit of speed, which could be handy as well. With Ally Switch, obviously this Pokemon is going to be worried about like Ghost type moves and Dark type moves. Why not actually pair it with a Dunsparce with Rattled? That could give it a speed boost. It also kind of works with it too, because you could run like a cool special set there. I'll run this Dunsparce, Boom Burst, one with Throat Spray. Couple of doubles moves there. A little bit of fun. You could, work around its types and what it's weak to, and you can have some fun with Ally Switch as well, causing the opponent some lots of grief there, not landing a move against you. But a little bit of fun stuff there for doubles. I actually didn't have too much from a meme moveset today. This is going to be the best one, and it is terrible on the special side, which of course is why I want to show you. Now, you can run Fluffy or Sand Rush on this. I tried for a Fluffy one because I'm not running any speed, so I want a little bit more bulk, but you can definitely give it some more speed, and you might have to slide on like Sandstorm. Now, Looking at this one, we've got Terror Blast as a special move here. So basically how this move works, this is another thing too, with the competitive one, you could actually give it a Terror on there as well with normal type. So you could, if you want to change it off from a Ghost to a normal, you can give it Terror Blast. The way Terror Blast works is if your attack stat is higher, it's going to make it a physical move. If it's not, it's just going to be special every single time. So that's how that move goes about working. I've also got Snarl on with Throat Spray to increase its special attack. Its special attack is trash, obviously. It really has, like, let me show you, like, its special moves. They're absolute garbage here. So you really don't have a lot to, like, work with here, so that's why I gave it Mudshot. Now, you could run something, like, if you're running it under Trick Room, I was thinking, like, another way you could run this could be under Trick Room, because it's not very fast, so this is another option for competitive, too. Like, say if you run this under Trick Room, you could easily go, like, let's say, for example, you could give it 0 IVs, and then you could easily just, like, change up its ability if you wanted to. So something like we're looking probably like Relaxed here, and that's pretty slow. And then you could do something like, I don't know, Destiny Bond, and you could even do stuff like Room Service. Things like that could actually work too. So like different scenarios depending on what your team you're running. It could definitely work there. Even a sweeping set would work very nicely under Trick Room as well. You could just adjust those EVs there. You could make it Adamant Nature. Sorry, not Adamant. You give it Brave Nature there. So you want to keeping those EVs low and have it Room Service. It's kind of slow. You could probably get away without Room Service, but if a really slow Pokemon come in, that would just guarantee you go first, and you could still add Fluffy on there. You wouldn't have to rely on Sand Rush. So essentially, you could have a lot more bulk and then still use the really powerful moves there that it actually gets. So. We're just going to change the moves up here. So this was the other set there. So we had Last Respect, and we could give it like Crunch and other moves like that too. So it'd be whatever moves you're up there to use. And you could, I just like having that normal type move on there, because you could still have it, you could still trick the opponent. So I'm thinking, as a counter for this Pokemon, before I show you the moves meme set, and for a counter for this Pokemon, really, the one weakness it has here is it's very slow. And it doesn't really have a way to get around, like, priority moves. It doesn't have any priority moves. So if you hit this with, like, let's say, for example, like a Sucker Punch or a powerful priority move, you're going to do, like, a fair lot of damage to it, especially if you hit it on the special side, too, there. So if you can get rid of, if you're having trouble with it in the Sand Rush, you need to use, like, priority. Another Pokemon you could run as well that would really destroy this. I'm just going to bring this up right here. You could have something like, as I said before, like, this thing would be a very good Pokemon. Like, just an example here, right? Any prankster Will-O-Wisp Pokemon with, you could just run them with, like, just a bulky generic sort of set there that would work nicely on this, right? So something like a prankster Will-O-Wisp set. As soon as this gets burned, it's going to be really bad, because its attack stat, it's good, but just that real burn and half damage is going to make a big difference there. Depending, of course, how many of these Last Respects stacks you've got. You may as well call them a stack for each Pokemon. So a burn, a priority move would be very, very nice against this Pokemon, right? Or a normal type Pokemon. Another good counter would be like any like normal type Pokemon would be a good counter as well. I'm just thinking about something that's really tanky here, like, you're looking at like Chansey, even like an Everlight Chansey, right? That is gonna be really, really quite good against there. I mean, really, truly, what are you gonna do to it if you can't lose Last Respects? These moves aren't gonna do a lot of damage, and then Chansey can go ahead and use stuff like Thunder Wave against you, and it basically shuts it down. So there are counters for it. You just have to be able to have a Pokemon that isn't going to be hit by its really powerful Last Respects, or you need to outspeed it via priority, or you need to shut it down with a status move. So that would be my recommendations there for that set. But anyway, let's go back to the meme move set for a little bit. Just a bit of fun as always on these. I've got this special set here. Really, it's bad. There's not a lot to do with it. You could even play around and use choice specs. I was thinking you could also go with the Hex set. You could put the Hex up there, and then you could have something like choice specs on there, and you could have like a Toxic Spike setter, and then double the base power to 130, which would that would be sizable then, and you could turn it into like a sweeper then. That would be Probably the most damage output I have there, but a bit of fun on the special set, and yeah, that pretty much clears up here. What were your movesets? Like, did you like my movesets here? I mean, really, this Pokemon, the best move it's got there going for it is this Last Respects, you know? There's not much. Just work around that move and you'll be fine. If you've got some other movesets you'd like to add, please put them below in the comment section of the video. If you like this style of video, let me know in the comment section. Drop a like there. I really hope you're enjoying these. I'm going to be giving all the Gen 9 Pokemon a go and giving my thoughts on them. That's pretty much it for today's video, people. Peace out.